The lecture hall fell silent as Professor Vexratha's 6 eyes swept across the amphitheater. His chitinous frame clicked softly as he moved, a sound that had become familiar to the 200 students attending Galactic University's most prestigious xenobiology course. Today, his translator rendered his clicking speech into perfect galactic standard. We discussed the most dangerous predator the galaxy has ever known. A species so lethal, so perfectly evolved for violence, that the Galactic Council had no choice but to quarantine their entire star system. The holographic display behind him flickered to life, showing a swirling blue-green planet. Jessica Martinez sat forward in her seat, recognizing something oddly familiar about those continental shapes. The species, Professor Vexrath continued, originated from a death world classified as Terra 3, though ancient records refer to it simply as Earth. What made this species unique wasn't their size, they averaged only 1.8 meters. It wasn't their natural weaponry, they possessed none. No claws, no venom, minimal body armor. A Raxian student, her crystalline form refracting the lecture hall's light, raised a tentacle. Then what made them dangerous, Professor? Everything else. The professor's mandibles clicked with what Jessica had learned to recognize as grim satisfaction. Let me paint you a picture of their homeworld. Gravity 1.3 times galactic standard. Atmospheric oxygen levels that would be toxic to most species for extended periods. Weather systems capable of generating winds exceeding 300 kilometers per hour. Seismic activity that could level cities. And that was before we discussed the fauna. The hologram shifted, displaying creatures Jessica knew all too well. A great white shark. A saltwater crocodile. A grizzly bear. A pack of wolves. Their planet, Vexrath said, was an arms race. Every species evolved to kill efficiently. But humanity didn't just survive. They thrived. They developed persistence hunting, chasing prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. They developed complex social structures that allowed them to coordinate attacks against creatures 10 times their size. They learned to harness fire, to forge weapons, to... Professor? Jessica's hand went up before she could stop herself. Every eye, stalk, and optical sensor in the room turned toward her. She felt her heart race, that very human response that had once helped her ancestors flee from saber-toothed cats. Yes, Cadet Martinez. She stood, her throat suddenly dry. Sir, you keep using past tense. They were. They developed. Are you saying humans are extinct? Professor Vexratha's expression was unreadable, but his voice carried a note of curiosity. You're the human exchange student, correct? First of your species to attend Galactic University in 3 centuries. Yes, sir. Then perhaps you can illuminate us all. What do your people believe happened? Jessica's mind raced. 3 centuries. The silence, her history professors back at Columbia had called it. The period when Earth had suddenly gone dark, when the few human colonies on Mars and Europa had been left to fend for themselves. When humanity had thought they were alone in the universe. We thought we were quarantined, she said carefully. After the first contact war. A ripple of movement went through the alien students. The Raxian's crystalline body actually dimmed. Ah, Vexrath said. The human perspective. Yes, there was a war. A very brief one. The Galactic Council, in its wisdom, decided humanity was too dangerous to be allowed into galactic society. Your expansion was too rapid, your military too adaptable, your psychology too aggressive. 3 ships, Jessica said, her voice hardening. You sent 3 ships to negotiate our surrender. They opened fire on our colonies without warning. And humanity, the professor continued, seemingly unfazed, destroyed all 3 within 72 hours. Destroyers that had never been bested in 4,000 years of Council history, obliterated by a species that had barely achieved faster-than-light travel. The hologram changed again, showing battle footage. Jessica watched human pilots in fighters that looked ancient compared to the sleek vessels around them, somehow outmaneuvering ships that should have been superior in every way. She saw the ESS Liberty, humanity's first real warship, ramming into a Council dreadnought at near light speed. The Council made a decision, Vexrath said. Humanity was quarantined. Total isolation. No contact in or out. Your system was to be left alone, and you were to be studied from a distance as a cautionary tale, what happens when a death world produces intelligence. And now? Jessica asked. Now. For the first time, the professor's voice carried something that might have been respect. Now, a single human cadet walks into my classroom, having somehow convinced the Council to lift the quarantine enough to allow educational exchange. Tell me, Cadet Martinez, how did your people spend those 300 years? Jessica thought about the terraformed Mars, now home to 2 billion people. The mining colonies in the asteroid belt. The generation ships already en route to Proxima Centauri. The fusion reactors, the quantum computers, the medical advances that had doubled human lifespan. We built, she said simply. We explored. We grew. And we waited. For what? For you to realize that the deadliest thing about humans isn't our capacity for violence, Professor. It's our refusal to give up. You locked us in a box, and we made it a home. You tried to contain us, and we thrived anyway. The lecture hall was absolutely silent. Jessica continued, her voice steady. You wanted to know what happened to humanity. Nothing happened to us. We're still here. Still surviving. Still adapting. And now we're ready to show the galaxy that maybe, just maybe, a little persistence and stubbornness is exactly what the universe needs. Professor Vexrath regarded her for a long moment. Then, his mandibles clicked in what she'd learned to recognize as a smile. Class dismissed, he said. Except you, Cadet Martinez. I believe we have much to discuss about your people's application for full council membership. As the other students filed out, casting curious glances at the human among them, Jessica remained standing. She thought about her home, that blue-green marble hanging in the darkness. That beautiful, terrible death world that had forged humanity in fire and flood and fawn. Earth wasn't gone. It had just been sleeping. And now, it was time to wake up.